our technology, which is crunching thousands of data points, will tell us what's the best outcome for the return product. Should it go back to the shelf? Should it be refurbished? Should that be liquidation? Should it be controlled recycling? That whole decision is being driven through technology and AI.
The 28th ICR conference is underway in Orlando, Florida, with thousands of industry insiders. One of them is Sam Mukherjee. He is the CFO of ReturnPro. It is a company that helps businesses streamline the return process. Sam, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So what is ReturnPro?
So ReturnPro, as the name suggests, we are in the business of solving returns. So imagine all the products that consumers get on Walmart, Amazon, or you buy from a brand directly, and you are sending the product back if you don't like it. That's the return. We as a company have a solution that allows you to optimize and manage the returns process, benefiting both the customers as well as the brands and the retailers who are selling you the products.
So who are your customers? And if I am a customer of ReturnPro, what are the services that I'm getting?
So the customers, our solution, is directed at kind of three major constituents. One, the retailers. So you think of retailers like Walmart, et cetera. And then you have the brands. So individual brands who sell themselves or through the retail channels. And then the third is also resellers. So if you go to marketplaces like Walmart.com or Amazon, there are thousands and thousands of resellers over there. Everybody has the problem of returns. So therefore, our solution is kind of geared towards helping solve that process for each of those three different group of customers.
Is there a general return rate, and how does that impact a business's bottom line?
Yeah, so recently NRF kind of published their survey. This is the National Retail Foundation. And it's an $850 billion problem in the industry. And on an average, the returns rate is 15%, higher for e-commerce, which is like 20% or higher, or like 10 to 12% for things that you buy in a brick and mortar store. So therefore, it's a significant part. So anytime there is the consumers are buying it, a piece of that technically can be returned. And therefore, it's a huge problem for the industry. And especially now that e-commerce is becoming a bigger part of the retail mix, the growth of returns continues because it's, for things that you're buying online, there is a higher chance of, you returning that product if you don't like it or the size is not correct. So it's definitely a significant, problem for the industry. Having said that, in the past, it was a smaller, issue for retailers, but today, because of this growth of returns, it's becoming more of an area of strategic importance for big brands and retailers to solve, because not only it can, have a financial impact for you, and I can explain that later, but more importantly, it enhances customer experience. Same survey that actually NRF published, over 70% of the survey participants, they actually said that having a good returns policy is very important for them before they would do business with you. And over 80% said they want free returns. I mean, granted, nothing is free, but as a consumer, when you are buying, you want to be able to return that product if you don't like it without any hassle.
You were talking about the financial impact of these returns. What is that financial impact on a company?
So from a company standpoint, once you sell the product and it comes back, so there is a different financial impact in terms of shipping the returned product and putting it into your inventory and so forth. Today, primarily, most of the return products that come back are either goes through liquidation, which is you sell it for like pennies on the dollar, so 10 to 15 cents on the dollar. And then a ton of products are destroyed or they go to the landfill. So it's real cost to the business. What we as a company strive to do is help to solve that problem just from a financial side, is to number one, enhance the recovery of that return item. So we can take a 5 to 15% normal liquidation returns all the way to 65 to 85 percent. So that's an exponential improvement in your recovery, which is a direct impact to their bottom line if you're a brand or a retailer. On top of that, while you are making money, you are redirecting ton of product away from the landfill. So it's also good for the environment. So there is a definite sustainability aspect to proper returns management while you are getting financial benefit from that process. And being a CFO, I'll tell you the other very important thing that we help influence is working capital. We can free up a lot of working capital because return products come and sit here in inventory. By processing them and bringing them back to the secondary market, we free up a ton of working capital, which is very important for any organization out there.
So what does that look like in practice for ReturnPro to support these companies and help reduce the burden that they face with returns?
Yeah, so ReturnPro is the only company who has an end-to-end integrated solution for returns management. What I mean by that, when we say we are trying to solve return, we mean taking care of the process from the initiation of the return to finding a second life or a second shelf for the product. So our solution, when we are talking to the customer, we can literally take over their entire process. Our software can be part of their websites or deployed in their stores. So whenever, as a consumer, you go click on the website or you are walking into a store, returning it, and the product gets scanned in, our solution can take over from there. And then the same product can be shipped to our own warehouses where we physically touch the product. We do refurbishment to bring it back to life. So think about electronic equipment or like phones, we would do data wipe, we would do cleansing and repackaging to get it ready to be sold back into the market. And then finally, our re-commerce solutions, we take that product that we just brought back to life, we put it back on your marketplace if you have your website or your store, or we can put it on third-party marketplaces like Walmart or Amazon and monetize it for you. So as an organization, when we work with our customers, we partner with them through the end-to-end returns process. So we can literally take over that entire activity and basically make some very positive impact to their bottom line as well as the customer experience.
How big of a problem is return fraud? And do you have technology to identify the people who are abusing the return process?
That's an excellent question. And return fraud is a problem and is becoming a bigger problem. You'd be amazed to kind of see the level of sophistication that's out there when it comes to fraudulent items. And for a company like us, we are being able to kind of influence the process to make it better, because when we look at the product, the return product, or we inspect the product, we can see if there is a fraud in there. So fraud detection, both as part of our regular process, but also we're investing in technology that can actually scan an item and be able to tell you if it's fraudulent or not. So there are a lot of research, R&D going on to kind of in that area. But the other important thing is not just kind of detecting the fraud, but fraud prevention. You can actually track from where the fraudulent products are coming in. You can do customer segmentation, et cetera, with that information. So next time, that person is returning the product, it can be flagged in the system. So you can actually, monitor and segment the customer so that you are actually taking care of your best customers without penalizing everyone just because, you have fraud, in the returns process. So it's another tool for the retailers and the brands to take care of their better customers while trying to manage this issue of fraud.
Are you using AI to identify these fraudsters and also just for your general business operations?
Yes, again, very good question. And just like everyone out there, AI is a significant, part of our investments. We have had machine learning in our algorithms for a while, but now we have agents like, that do the work that previously we had to depend on, humans to do. So, for example, we have specific agents built into our workflows that allow us to, identify the best disposition outcome for a return product. So when a product comes back, our technology, which is crunching, thousands of, data points, will tell us what's the best outcome for the return product. Should it go back to the shelf? Should it be refurbished? Should that be liquidation? Should it be controlled recycling? That whole, decision is being driven, through technology and AI in our environment that helps us not only speed up the process, but actually enhances the quality of the decision making because it's crunching thousands of data points real time in terms of market demand, price points, et cetera, to give us a better outcome. So for us, I'll tell you, as we partner with the world's largest retailers out there, it is very important to have the proper infrastructure enabled by AI to scale the business and scale and meet them at their, for their needs, especially where there is a significant amount of volume involved that we are processing day to day.
And as the CFO of ReturnPro, what is your trajectory for growth for 2026 and how do you plan to get there?
So for us, definitely, we obviously want to be partnering with our customers. So their growth, there's a direct mathematical, correlation with their growth. If they're growing, we should be growing because returns is just part of the normal business trend. We, as a company, are kind of focused on growth in two formats. One, taking care of our existing customer base and bringing to them, better solutions, figuring out how to improve the recovery or the velocity. Velocity is kind of what determines the working capital impact. But outside of that, we are out there, educating people about the potential or the possibilities of monetizing return. Like as a CFO, I'll tell you, if I'm in a company and somebody came and told me, hey, I have a solution that can improve your recovery from 15% to 80%. And there is minimal risk for you because you don't have to go sell extra to get that. Whatever you are selling today has a byproduct called returns. And optimizing that process gives you this kind of exponential improvement in your financials. That would be a very compelling argument for me as a CFO. So we are out there talking to brands and retailers to talk to them and give them use cases for what we have been able to achieve for our existing clients and help them understand this process and how they can benefit from it.
All right, Sam Mukherjee, CFO of ReturnPro, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.